Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through the industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Josh McBride. He is a US nationally recognized television host and producer in the US, contributing content to some of the most watched television programs currently on air television, including the TV Today Show, Good Morning America, The Sherry Show, and lots more. Welcome to the show, Josh.
AJ, I'm so excited to be here. Yes, I feel like you are the mastermind, honestly. So it's nice to be with you and share this time with you.
You are welcome to the show. I am not the master. The master is someone like you who shares their expertise with the world. My job is only to, bring out that master in front of the audience so that the whole learning part happens, so that it helps them in their life. And that is what we will do. You are a master master television host. You know about things about branding, and now you host your own show, Simplified with Josh McBride. So we'll learn about all different aspects of networking, personal branding, and about business. But first, to understand, for the audience who would like to know more about you, how would you like to describe your own journey, as so that your journey is your message for a lot of people?
Yeah, I think everybody sort of we all know everyone has a unique journey, and I think mine was a bit bumpy and shaky, just kind of like everyone's was. I don't know how I would describe it in a sentence. I was in marketing, and I kind of always had this dream of working as a television host. So I would work in marketing in the day, and then at night, go to red carpets and talk to celebrities and interview celebrities for different outlets for free, totally for free. I wasn't making a penny. And while I kind of held these two simultaneous careers at the same time, at one point, the marketing career, I was at Coca-Cola, a company everybody knows, and that marketing career, they dropped the budget. There was no more budget for the marketing team. And so I was put out on that ledge to say, are you going to go for it full-time hosting, or are you going to still try and get into this marketing thing, or really going to follow your dreams? So I said, F it, I'm going to go and I'm going to follow my dreams at this point. And that's exactly what happened.
Okay. And so you were already hosting at that point in time in Coca-Cola, doing something. I don't understand much of that part. So help us understand. And then how did you get into full-time hosting? How did you know that, okay, this is what you wanted to do? This is what is, it is going to lead you into the future?
Yeah. When I was working at Coca-Cola, I took on a nighttime job. So I worked for Coca-Cola in the day and took on a nighttime job, working for free as a host for some digital channels, for some YouTube stuff, because I wanted to build my reel or my video that showcases my skills. So I did both of them at the same time. So when I got put out on that edge by Coca-Cola, I was already doing a lot in hosting. So I was kind of like, there's two things that can happen. One, I can stay and try to get a marketing job in the day and figure out, kind of what I know how to do, what I'm not in love with, but what I know how to do. Or I could step out onto that ledge and take a jump and take that leap and really kind of delve right into full-time hosting and figure out what that looks like. And then started to get myself on more major national shows. And then I started to go on different shows across the country, and I started making money from hosting, and brands wanted to work with me. And I was like, well, wait a second. I don't really need that marketing daytime job, right? Like I worked for a brand. Now I'm the brand. So that's sort of how it happened.
Absolutely. So if you were to look at that particular stage of your life, in today's time, and with the different modes of branding yourself, and today it's a bit different. Would you look at it? Was it easier then, or is it easier now in terms of if you were to rebrand yourself from at that point in time? In today's time,
I think it's different now. Right now, we have so much access to social media that we can really create our own brand and create our own narrative for what we want others to think about us. So we're able to utilize, all those social media sites, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter or X, to really showcase who we are now. I think the hard part is staying on a path of that trajectory of like, where do you want to end up as the brand, right? You're going up like this. When you start here, is this the same person as this is, right? Are you keeping that sort of attitude and momentum, or have you changed, right? Which is, and change is okay, but the people that have followed you since day one, are they following you at day 1001 because you've kept that same message, right? Whether it be the grounds you stand on for politically or social things, or as an entertainment person, are you now a health advisor? That's a little different. So I think it really depends on who you want to be. And again, it's okay to change, but be respectful to those that may not want to continue to follow you when you've gone from a career in entertainment and now you're a doctor and have nothing to do with the entertainment world.
Right. So let me ask you this way. Is job as a TV host or or YouTuber or anything else that nowadays so many things are we use for whatever we do online, is that much more easier or is it much more difficult in today's time? How do you look at that?
From a financial perspective, or what perspective are we looking at it from?
For branding perspective as well as financial perspective also, because you see, earlier it was different. You see, you can't, it's difficult to separate. You got so many things together, bundle up in today's time. But yes, more in terms of financial as well as, in terms of the competition also, anyone now can become a host in their way.
Yeah. So when I wanted to be a TV host, it was a TV host, right? I wasn't looking at YouTube like I want to be the next big host on YouTube or host my own show on YouTube. I was looking at sort of the traditional path of television, right? As so many do, which has become really extremely competitive because there's so many things that they look for in television now, where I also felt like at the time I was a square peg trying to go into a circle hole. It wasn't fitting. Which was why I kind of branched off in later years, saying I want to create my own, because it's really hard to fit into a role that was made for somebody and I might not fit. And who's ever the gatekeeper, that high up person doesn't see me in, right? And until that person's gone, I'm never going to have a chance at this job that I've always dreamed of, at this show that I've always dreamed of. So right now it's a really great time for creators and influencers, and I hate that term because I think influencers, there's no there's no training behind. I guess you can edit a TikTok video, congratulations, but I think right now is a great time for creators and hosts and people that want to really have a message for someone, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a message. There's people that are on TikTok showing recipes or showing their day, or showing that they do ASMR where they go really close to the mic and they start whispering to relax you. Now is the best time to really, if you're looking to be a brand and you are the brand, or you're looking to run a brand, and which is why I actually kind of, to segue, I created a course here in the US called Get Your Brand on TV. And what's so great about it is I utilized my marketing background with my knowledge of TV to be able to kind of mend the two, to say, okay, if I have a small brand and let's say it's phone cases, the back of phone case, right? How do I monetize that on a bigger level without using TikTok or social media? I want to use TV to sell my phone cases. So that's really cool. And if there's American viewers on here or listeners, it's getyourbrandonTV.com. And what's so great, again, is I give you a step-by-step process of how to get you or your brand or your product or your service on TV and guarantee eyeballs watching it.
Right, Josh. So in terms of hosting, you have your own show now. In terms of hosting, when you see a lot of shows on different, social media or YouTube or any other platform, what do you think you see is missing from a lot of hosts that you think, okay, this is, if they come to know, this will be better for them? Because a lot of people talk about authenticity. That has become the big word, but I don't know, how do you look at it? And in terms of other things also, you would want to share with them in terms of your expertise, in terms of your understanding of this medium, much more closely, much more elegantly than the way a lot of people might be doing.
It's so funny you said authenticity, because I was going to say that before you said it. And I think that I think viewers now, we're so there's such an influx of digital media in general, that we see personalities all day long, from our news anchors we watch TV to the person on TikTok, to scrolling on Instagram, watching their 1-minute recap of the politics of the day. We're so encapsulated with all of these people and all of these, but there's a disconnect when these people, like you just said, aren't authentic. And I've always told myself that I wanted to be the same person on air, on television, that I am off air. And I've sort of maintained that. And I think what people really always say to me, they say, "You're so real." And I said, well, is that a good, like, shouldn't everyone be so real? Like, that's not a compliment. But when people say you're so real, it now has become a compliment, because so many people are not authentic with themselves, with others. So I think for me, and I know you kind of you said it already, it's like that for me, being authentic was really, really important when I was kind of starting my hosting career, and wanted to streamline that continuously, because I don't want to be something that I'm not, and I think when I start faking it, you can tell. And I think viewers are smart. Viewers, the everyday consumer and viewer, is very smart, and they're going to go, well, she uses that hair product, or she's never watched that show, or anything like that. So I think authenticity is super important, and not just TV. It's important in your everyday life, right? Like, it's attack that problem, have that talk that you haven't wanted to have, talk to that employee that's having trouble, right? Being real, as opposed to kind of just, it's so much easier, and being direct. There's a value in being direct.
Right, Josh. Then one challenge here is that you might be authentic, but a lot of people you talk may not be authentic, especially in entertainment, in politics, in so many areas of life. If you see, how do you manage to balance these two things at the same time, if you are interviewing or hosting those people on air? How do you deal with that sort of an experience, especially for a person like you? If we deal with somebody, you have just hosted or hosting someone who is a bit fake, it, they also know it, and you go and say, oh my God, it's good it got over. I just want to understand your mindset. And in today's time, how do people, be themselves authentic in spite of being around different situations? How does that work for today?
That's a really great question. At the end of the day, we have to worry about ourselves, right? If somebody else is sick, that's not us, right? Like, we can care for them, we can share how we can help them, but at the end of the day, we lay down with ourself. At the end of the day, right? I'm laying on my pillow as me. So why I say that is, the only thing that I can do is worry about me, right? I can care for other people. I can be selfless in taking care of them when they're sick, or they need a friend to talk to, or they just broke up with a boyfriend, or they're going through a hard time. Absolutely. I'm not saying that. But at the end of the day, I can only worry about me, right? I can only worry about my actions. I can control my actions. I can't control if I'm interviewing somebody else, if they're being fake or not authentic. I can't control that. But what I can control is how I respond and how I speak to them. Right. So at the end of the day, when I put my head on that pillow, I can say, I did my best in this moment. Right. I don't want to worry about somebody else and how they're reacting, how they're responding. That's not even my business. Right. I can worry about me, and I only should be worried about me. And I don't mean that. I want to be clear. That doesn't mean when your friend asks you for support, oh, screw you, I'm not helping you. That doesn't mean if somebody asks, could you help me? Could you drive me to the airport because my car broke down? I'm not saying that. Absolutely help your friends and loved ones and strangers. However, when it comes to someone being inauthentic and they're in your circle, well, the best thing that you can do in that moment is be authentic, because it's what you can control.
Right, Josh. Now, in terms of, you see, either in television news or even in terms of influencers, now a new set of players has come in, that is the AI newsreaders as well as AI influencers. How do you look at that? And it's a big challenge for a lot of people, especially, these AI modules, they cost nothing for companies, and they are taking away a lot of attention as well as business from a lot of real human beings.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? How do you see this? Is this a threat, or this is just a passing phase?
I think it can be both. I think two things can be true. I think it's an and. My cousin always says, I think it's an and conversation, not an or conversation, right? So two things can be true here. One, AI can help us when it comes to a lot of various different things, from writing to beyond, right? We've seen people that are AI that's now robots controlled surgeries and things like that. However, when this starts kind of clawing and coming at people's jobs that are really needing a job, and it's not right now, it's a really tough time for a lot of, I can say, for Americans, it becomes a bit challenging. I think AI news anchors is ridiculous. I want to see my local news anchor, my person that knows the city. This person doesn't know. I live in New York City. I want to see, when I'm watching local TV, I want to see somebody that knows the area, that's familiar with the traffic that she ran into when she got into work, that knows the best pizza spot across the street. An AI person is going to report the news as it happens, but there's no personality behind that. There's no heart behind that. There's no, drive. This isn't a real person. So and it's funny because I think I saw something recently where they're launching a first news network, something like that, and it's going to be all AI generated people that are reporting the news. And I was like, that's not that. You want to have a connection with your local news person. You want to see that person and go like, oh, they know about the trap. Like they know. I wonder if they had a tough time getting into work today too because of the rain, right? Like they know that. So it's an and conversation. Again, I think it can be really helpful in some types of writing or correcting or things like that. But I think we have to take it with a grain of salt and say, like, not everything needs to go to AI.
Right, Josh. So in terms of, talking of building a personality for yourself, how do you build that personal branding? How should I know that, okay, this is the type of branding that I would want for myself? How did you do for yourself? And you continue to be, the same off screen, on screen. How does it work? I want to understand that for the audience as well as people who are wanting to get into this line of show hosting, whether on television or on YouTube or anywhere else.
Yeah, I think it really starts with like, what are you passionate about? What do you care about? Right? Like when you go out, on the weekend, what are you doing? Right? Are you hanging out with friends? Are you watching the news? Who do you follow on Instagram? What are you watching on TikTok? Right? Like, who are you? And I think in my course, Get Your Brand on TV, we talk a lot about the first module. It's a video-based course. The first module is like building your foundation of business. Because if you don't have a foundation of business to stand on, how are you going to sell your business? How are you going to sell a product? Right? You can't even sell yourself as the brand because we don't know what the brand is. So having this like layered foundation of like who I am, right? And that's going to be different for everybody watching. Is it, I love to make pizzas with my family. I love parenting workshops, and I love reading about how I can be better communicating with my kids. Is it relationships? Do you love talking with your friends about their relationships? And maybe you could be a relationship expert because you've been kind of in the thick of it, and maybe you've done therapy with it, right? Like, are you a person that loves food, right? Loves to try all the new restaurants and make your own food. Figure out who you are first, right? We're talking personal branding. There's person in that word, right? You are the person. Who are you? For me, it was, I love being out. I loved knowing what was new and hot and sexy that was trending. I loved media. I loved consuming the new TV show. I loved, even if I didn't like the show, I'd like to know about the show, right? I want to watch it because, everyone's going to be talking about this new show with, so-and-so. It's wondering and being curious about who you are. And a lot of people are going to go, well, I don't know who I am. I go to work 9 to 5 and then I go home and take care of the kids. Then I go to bed. But that's not all you do, because on your way home, whether it be on the subway or whether it be in the car or whether it be, maybe you fly to work, because a lot of people will have to take a flight to go and do their job. Think about what you're watching, right? Like, what magazine did you pick up at the airport? What are you listening to on the radio, right? What Instagram accounts are you looking at that you're interested in, that you spend a little extra time watching? That's your personal brand, right? Like, you love entertainment because you watch all of these, Real Housewife shows, and that's I don't know if you have that there, but like that is your brand, right? Who you are is what you do. So, and what you like to do, maybe not even what you do, because maybe you don't have time to do it, but it's what you like to do. So for me, I'd always loved, I was always fascinated with celebrities and movie releases and the new song, and Beyonce's album just dropped today. So I've been listening to that all morning. And so I knew that for me was my brand. So figure out what you like and go from there.
Absolutely. And how should someone who is not in the US, someone from India, how would you like them to know Josh McBride? Who is Josh McBride? How can someone consume Josh McBride the best in whatever he is doing? Help us understand that today.
I think I would just hope that someone would see me like I see myself, like a very real and authentic individual who can go on air and on television or be at a restaurant with you and make you smile and make you laugh and maybe give you some insight, but also just enjoy whatever we're doing, right? Like, I think for me, again, it's coming back to that authenticity moment where it's like, I've never tried to be something else. And I think there's a lot to be said for people that try to be someone who they're not. Be you. There's nobody like you. You're unique in your own you. So why not lean into that? And I think for me, it's exactly that. So I think the takeaway here on my end is I'm never going to BS somebody. I'm never going to say I like something when I really don't. And I think at the end of the day, whether people say it or not, people respect that. And I think people will respect you more if you're authentic with yourself.
Absolutely. And in terms of the work that you are doing, you are the host of Simplified with Josh McBride. Then you are also doing that lifestyle thing. And what other things that you are doing so that people know, okay, this is the way I can, engage with Josh.
Yeah, so this course that I had come up with is kind of my brainchild and baby in that I never thought I was going to be a teacher, but I had all this knowledge about how to get there. And someone said to me, like, you should teach that. And I was like, everyone already knows that. And then I go, no one does. So being able to become a teacher in this space, of this space that I know so well, I'm still going on air every day. They have a saying where I don't know if it's true, those who can't do teach, but I'm still very much doing. I'm still going on air every week and making it work for me. I'm in an entertainment and lifestyle space. When a celebrity does anything crazy, I get 10 calls to come on television. Producers around the country will call me and say, can you talk about Father's Day gifts or gifts to get your brother or dad or husband for Christmas or Valentine's Day or things like that. So I'm doing a lot of that too. And I teach that in the course, that if you're a brand wanting to become a part of those segments or do it yourself, you can easily go and check that out as well.
Wonderful. So what is the best way for people to know more about the course, more about you, more about things that you are doing, and to engage with you professionally? How do they connect with you?
You can go on Instagram. That's probably the best way. It's Joshie McB. So it's Josh, my first name, YMCB as in boy. The course is linked in the bio, Joshie McB. And you can see a lot of work of mine there. You can see, you can see the course, a lot more other things, some fun stuff. I was out last night at an event, some other fun stuff,
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thanks, AJ.